the whole point of me wanting to manifest some things, it's I want to manifest an outcome. How can I not expect something at the end when the whole point of me doing it is for that reason? And obviously I understood, it's more layered than that, but
I just think, with consciousness itself, it's experiencing itself as a spectrum. So there has to be the hypnotized asleep experiences, and there has to be the awake conscious experiences, and there has to be everything in between. I don't think there's necessarily a goal for humanity to wake up as a whole, but then also at the same time,
Once you wrestle that with yourself, then you could do whatever you want anyway, but once you wrestle that get to the base of it, then you can stop butting heads with every experience you have.
yeah.
Because that's all you're doing, butting heads with you.
If someone was feeling lost right now, what would you genuinely want them to know? Yeah, it's great to have you on. I've been on your channel a few times now, so it's really always lovely and a pleasure to speak to you guys. I wanted to start this off by asking you, how would you describe yourselves to any new viewers, and what you do at the moment?
Is this start?
go ahead.
My name's Shem and Omondi. I go by Shem. I'm a multidisciplined artist. I am an author, mum of 4, intuitive guide. I'm into consciousness and awareness. And I get to host a really great podcast. It's one of my favorites with one of my favorite people.
So my name is Omondi. French. I'm French originally. And I'm a father of 4. Because Shem, she's my wife. Just happen to have this in common.
Yeah.
Yeah, and basically we are artist author. I am an artist author, and I also dive in deep when it comes to consciousness and the nature of this reality.
Yeah, and your channel's AwakenToJoy, that I'm subscribed to. And I think it's great what you're doing over there. You've got a live every Sunday, and you've got your own community, and everyone joins in. And whenever I've got time and it pops up, I jump on, because the conversations that you have and the topics that you go into are just so real, human, and transformative as well. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank
We
you.
love seeing when you jump in on a Sunday, even if it's just to say cuckoo. It's lovely. Yeah, love seeing you there, and the community is vast and wide. It's a lot of overlap when it comes to community. So we've got a lot of people from all about. So I'm sure some of our viewers are also your viewers, and it's just it's kind of like the common room of this experience where everyone just comes and meets up and chops it up, and it's lovely. It's really been a wonderful experience to work with you guys and AwakenToJoy. It's lovely.
Yeah, no, I feel the same. I like the collab that we've kind of been doing between us. It's been really nice. It's been nice to get to know you as well on a personal level, and like as
Yeah.
parents as well. And
Mm.
fair play to you both for having 4 children, because I know what it's like having one, and it's hard as it is. So having 4 is just yeah. I hold
It
my
gets
hands to you.
easier. It gets
Yeah.
easier. Yeah, I thought it wouldn't, but it did.
Yes, surprisingly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Got more time than I used to.
Yeah, way more time than I used to, and it's 1,000% easier, and you give yourself way more breaks and forgiveness, and then as you delve into, awareness, consciousness, you kind of realize that you are momentarily their parents in
Yeah.
these moments that we experience. It's not like I don't talk with my big mum voice the whole day. I mean, number one, it's exhausting, and number two, I save that for special moments. But but it just starts having less value if I need it to be on 24/7 with the kids, right? Because sometimes I just want to sit down and watch Netflix with them, and like, or get them. How do I swing from that to being their friend and just listening? So I am fluid with that, and that's been our experience, loosening that part of my identity.
Yeah, and I think stop caring so much as well. You know, when you've got 4 children and you are awakening, I think you stop caring so much.
Yeah.
But funny enough, yeah, it's it's an amazing experience, and it's all about experience.
Yeah. And then you get to see who they are, who you are. And then with the work that I do, and me just, I would say, opening up or just reopening some of the abilities that I already had that I'd just kind of been suppressing through different means and methods. You learn who they are, who they were before they even met you or decide to come here, or just where their consciousness goes at times. And you kind of like have to drop this whole entire act of superiority over them, because it's not real in my experience. You know, for one of my daughters, she came in when she was like 2, and she was very fluent very early when she spoke, and she just let me know, like, you're the mummy now. I was your mummy, but now it's your time to look after me, so you're going to look after me, right? And I was like, right, okay. She was like, good. And then she just went on with her 2-year-old life. When you have moments like that, you just hold your corner. You just hold your corner and just like, okay, this is different.
Yeah, I mean, it's bigger than the avatar you are using now. That's what it is. You realize there's much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have moments where you do dive into the idea of the mum and get to hold them and be there for them and stand up for them and just hold space for them and their experience in that moment. And it's lovely. It's lovely. And then there's moments where, like, you know, they shit the bed and you got to clean it up. And it's like, oh gosh.
Well, he's talking about grounded moment.
So grounded. Okay.
Holding space for them is a
Omondi.
good way to put it. I think holding space is a great way to put it. Force you to live in the moment, don't they? Because if you have any kind of expectation on how it should be, they just switch that up really quick, and they're like, "No, now I'm going to do this that you
Yeah.
expect." Well, they do the opposite to what you expect. Then literally they force you to live in the moment, and then each child is different as well. So there is really no, this is how you should parent. It's just you kind of learn as you go in the moment.
Yeah.
I've found so far, anyway.
Yeah. It's more of that.
Yeah, but then there's obviously
Yeah.
what you know, if you want morals and certain things, obviously that's something that you can teach. But
Of course, like,
yeah,
we were telling
Yeah.
him, don't throw things directly at people's heads. Like,
yeah.
it's all fun and games, you too, but when you get older,
Yeah.
what are we
But
saying here?
you know the thing
It's
is,
an assault, apparently. So no.
the thing is, I was thinking about what you were saying as well. It's what you teach your children. Changes. It is just a huge change, and it's very different now. Obviously, when you're working, because even like what you mentioned about people perceiving you as being sad, or what you're not happy, although you are happy. It's just the conception, how you conceptualize happiness is different. It's so different. And then how do you teach your children, specifically with the ongoing school curriculum, and what what it is to be happy and how it looks like, or how it truly looks like. And a lot of people are still there. Just because you didn't smile, then you must be unhappy, but it's not the case. You could be totally satisfied. And it's this balance now I've realized, like, even with the emotions and what you teach your children, for me, that has changed a lot because I'm trying to not have preconceived ideas on how it looks like and allow our children to just basically do their own things and express their happiness the way they want to express it. And it's funny to watch because from one child to another, it's absolutely different. It's just but just allowing this, because I remember growing up, happiness looked like that and sadness looked like this, and it was a lot of that. And it's still till this day, like even if you get good news, people are asking you, aren't you excited? I'm like, oh, it's all happening inside, but it's just I just don't, I am, but I know I'm not jumping, but and it's very it's very funny how it is now. Yeah,
Again, yeah, it's perspective, isn't it? And conceptualization. It's people conceptualizing what happiness should be according to their perspective and then projecting that onto you. That's bang on. That's what it's mad, isn't it? Like this is what I think we kind of got into last time when we were speaking. Everyone's perspective is their own interpretation. And then if they see something and it doesn't fit with their interpretation, there's like a friction.
Yeah. I think that they may do with, instead of having a friction, well, you can feel the friction, but then just turn it into intrigue and be like, what am I looking at? Which is a question I say when a lot. Being a mum of 4, you walk into a room and you're like, what am I looking at? It's just like, what's going on here? And if you ask yourself that when there's like some sort of friction between like your perspective and like what things are, a lot of the time it's people just being people. They don't even mean any harm. Chill, observe, and then be more intrigued than frustrated.
Yeah.
And then maybe it's just something innocent that someone is just in their own world about.
It's funny how things are and how you handle situation differently, but then ultimately your children do watch the way you handle stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, we homeschool our children, so the fact that we are able to be present, every day with them as well, for me, I think it helps a lot to realize truly, specifically for the younger one, because the 2 older ones went to school for about 10 years, so it's a bit different. But I actually, matter of fact, we were able to see the contrast between, the 2s, I mean the 4s, and then and it's funny because part of because we often talk about becoming lucid, in your dream state, and the first moment to be lucid is in this reality. And I've seen so many people not being aware, and I feel like the awareness is everything. And you realize I realized how much I had to become more lucid and present here, as much as I had obese, the in-body experience is important to be very aware, very present.
Yeah, well, if you look at it, in a way of a dream, and you notice that you can become lucid in a dream, and if you look at it from the perspective I share, not that it's correct, but with the textures of experience, if they're all just textures of the same thing, let's say layers of consciousness, then if you're able to become lucid in one texture, you might be able to become lucid in another texture. So the awareness is there regardless, but then to awaken to the awareness is something different. To become lucid within the texture is something different. So I think everyone on a foundational level is running around and playing within, as awareness. But to me, I've seen that it depends on how immersed you are within the character and how loosened you are from the character. And then the more loose you are, that's when you start noticing things. And that's maybe what awakening or waking up to what is might be. I don't know, but
we do try, don't we, to conceptualize these things.
Yeah.
But I have quoted you on that. The texture thing is just spot on for me. It's like you gave a really good language about a feeling that I'd experienced when you explained it with texture, and I was like, yeah, texture.
Is it
that's what it is?
The feel, that's what I get. It's a feeling, like, more than anything.
It's visceral, but it's not, and then it's everything.
Yeah.
all the sensors kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that.
I was actually thinking about something you said, Sasha, and something you mentioned as well, Shem, about this texture. And we had a conversation not so long ago, and basically it was about, when you hear people saying this reality is the dream, right? And that's what it's saying, and obviously the other side is, base reality. And I kind of differ a little bit when it comes to that explanation on our, and me and Shem were talking about perhaps it is both realities, and I came back to what you mentioned about the all different layers of reality and different textures and stuff like that, and you kind of pick and choose when you say you manifest the reality you want. It's you picking and choosing what texture you want in it and how you want to experience it. And the truth is, it's pretty much like that. They're all different version of reality. And you can notice it as well. I remember when the kids used to go to school, I used to drop them driving same journey there and back every morning. And then after a while, I knew that journey by heart. So you don't think about it when you drive, and it feels like I was skipping time, and I never experienced that actual, drive. Although I did, because I dropped the kids, came back. So I wasn't really present when that happened. So there was nothing even almost like skipping time. There was nothing really physical. There was no texture to be had there. It was just a space of time that I couldn't recollect. And then and that got me thinking, what if that is the case, and you're able to experience this so-called reality here that way, it's a bit similar when you're having a dream and you can't recall. This dream you may be able to recall more than others, and basically that's your ability to be present or not. So it works, the mechanism, the inner mechanism works the same, whether you're here or on the other side. And my conclusion was that, then they both realities. They're not actually dream. And then we had an episode, Sunday Live, where we talk about words and etymology and the meaning of dream, what it means in the first place. It means joy. Joy, that's what it means. So it doesn't even represent what experiencing a reality is. So if that's so, then perhaps the old reality that we are experiencing, whether we're here or on the other side, and that comes back to what you were explaining when we had that episode with you, like these are all realities, a different version of it and texture, and you were able to witness that as well with the pixelated reality that starting appearing before your eyes. So I think that is probably closer to what feels the truth to me. Like, I think that's closer to the truth.
Yeah. I was happy to have language around it, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think you made a great observation there, and that brings identity into it as well, because there can be experiences that are had without an ownership of an identity. So when you said you drove the car and you was basically unconscious for 10 minutes, life still happened. Life still happened. The car still drove. The avatar still drove, and you wasn't aware of it. And that's when you've connected that to the dream. That's exactly what it is. And these textures of awareness, I say that they're well, there's no separation, but I say that the only thing that creates the separation is stability of awareness. And that's so when I understand when people say like the other side and you wake up to the real you, I understand it, but I'm just seeing it in a different way, because when you have a dream and then you wake up not from the dream into the physical, but into a lucid dream, and you're like, oh, this is so much more real. And then you wake up from that into the physical body and you're like, oh no, this is real. And then you can have an out of body and be like, oh, this is real. This is my body.
Yeah.
And so what's really real and what's not? How are you differentiating that? How are you saying that the out of body experience is the base reality and this is just something that's illusory? I don't see that connection yet. I haven't seen that in my experience. I've just seen different textures. But, I'm open to change. I'm still curious. I'm still exploring. I'm not chasing so much at the minute, but I'm still really open to exploring because I love talking about this stuff and learning more. And the fact that I've not put a lid on it anymore, like that infinity experience I had, for example, that awakening that I had, I opened that up again. And since I've opened it up again, I'm learning more. It's like as soon as I feel like I know what's happened, I've closed that experience. And it's like, why did I ever do that? If infinity is infinity, how can the learning be stopped? How can movement be stopped? It's just an ever-flowing potential of everything.
It's beautiful like that, because then that means that nothing's ever over. And there is this rhetoric that nothing lasts forever. And I would say that that would be from somebody who wants you to not ground down, I'd say stay stuck to your identity here and that this is all that is and the idea of limitation. But once you've been shown what you're shown, you kind of say, hang on a minute, if this is all infinite, then so's every moment. And sometimes this is what I do for just as my own practice is. If there's something I do and I find out there's like a routinely, I do it. One day, I'll just do something different. If I catch myself in a routine and I know that, okay, I always say, okay, I always reach for this and then I reach for that and I pick them up together. I will do the same thing, but I will make something like totally different. Like maybe today I'm going to leave this deliberately and then I'm going to sing a song or something random that breaks up the momentum. And I found that routine sometimes attaches you to identities. And that's where my compassion comes in with people, because you go to work at this time, you go to everything's on the clock, right? So of course they're going to get, okay, there's a routine to it. And then you get lost in the routine. Just how you be in a dream, you get lost in that texture. So just how Omondi was always dropping the kids. So there'll be a moment where the awareness slips out. The thing's still going on, but for you to stay lucid, it's for you to keep on exploring, keep on doing new things. And sometimes in a routine, exploration is just expressed by you just deciding to do something different in the moment. And it doesn't have to be anything huge. Just if you usually take a red cup, take the blue cup. Or if you usually take a coffee, take the tea. Or take two. Or something random. It doesn't even have to be big. But then you start understanding that you have command for this to be infinitely different in the moment. And it kind of like brings you back to the infiniteness of every moment. So I've been practicing that, like just because I can, right?
Yeah.
It is something that triggers something when in me when you said that, and it reminded me of when people are asking how can I become more lucid during my dream, when I go to sleep. I'm talking about you're dreaming and you're feeling like, wow, I can't really remember, or I'm not in control of what's going on, and you are looking for more lucidity. Well, it's a bit the same. You just change, you trigger something, you change what you do. Sometimes you look at your hands, or you're gonna, trying to find a mirror and look at yourself. And these are all the change you would make. You would not normally do when you dream, but then just the fact that you do something that is different or attached to a choice you're able to make, which is empowering in itself, because you are making choice mean that you're in control. It's like recalling lucidity, and I like the mirroring of that in your life here as well. When you say, like, basically what you do is just you're trying to do something different when you're in a routine, because I had so many times where I can't recall what happened. I know I've done the thing I'm supposed to, but I'm like, to a point, even when it was while driving, I was like, wow, is that potentially dangerous, or am I fully in control? And I realized that because I used to sip walk when growing up, and a lot when I was a kid. So the whole 9 yards is to trying to, find the keys, open the door, go outside and do all that stuff, or sit down at the table, trying to eat some food or anything, you name it. And And it's the same mechanism because you're totally able to sleep and function. But my consciousness wasn't there. Well, not fully there, but something was operating normally. There was nothing, wrong in a sense. And obviously people's projection is they're usually very fearful because they say, wow, that's dangerous. And, when people are sleepwalking, there's a lot of like preconceived ideas and you have to keep them safe and they can't just start going off and that. But you hardly hear someone sleepwalking and hurting themselves. I never heard of that. And to a point that even if I'm hearing a story, I really wonder if it's not something they make up in order to maybe people take away people from the truth or what that is, in a sense. But the recall of lucidity, yeah, it's you can clearly see there's definitely a mirroring happening between this life here and on the other side. Getting back into your consciousness, being fully aware. I mean, it's definitely possible and important. And like you said, Sasha, it impacts as well the other version of reality. I've noticed that as well.
Yeah. The what you've said is like really important. It's like the break in the character for a moment. And that there's some things that I've done and I still do, and it's like if there's an itch, for example, we straight away go to that. You can just sit with that itch for that little bit longer and just stay with the sensation itself, and eventually you won't need to scratch it. And then this, when we spoke last time on when I was on your channel and I was talking about noticing and stuff, that's kind of the thing as well. Notice when you're about to react. You just start seeing how you've always reacted, and that kind of breaks it as well. But all of those things you mentioned, Shem, as well, it's just breaking that identification layer. And Omondi, you just said you kind of I think something like you kind of regain control that way. But another way you could look at it is breaking the attempt to control in the first place. Because what I found identity really is control. It's wanting to be safe, wanting to have a routine, wanting to do everything habitually and in the same patterns, in the same ways you've always done it. And if you're breaking that, it's not necessarily to control the controller, it's to stop the controlling from happening in the first place, which is where the freedom comes from.
Yeah, I like what you're saying.
I love that.
I really, really actually resonate with what you've explained here. And actually got me thinking about something you said earlier as well about learning, the idea of learning, because within learning, it's the attempt to be in control of new informations as well. And I realized it's really good actually when you mentioned that, and I think it's very important for people to realize that the attempt of trying to control everything, even the controller in itself, trying to be that person that can basically, I mean, we often hear people being upset about the puppet masters and the people that pull the strings in this reality and stuff like that. But we, in a way, do the same. Like we find it's almost like an inbuilt character in us, and that we have to trying to detach ourselves from that. And the reason why I was mentioned what you say about learning, I've heard a lot of the time people saying that when you come here on Earth round one, it's the learning experience and it's the school, and I never really resonated with that idea fully. I think that it's more an experience than learning anything, and I also conclude that if you're all knowing, how can you really learn something if you're not all knowing? But except just putting yourself through an experience. And that's all that is. And I know sometimes for a lot of people, it doesn't sound fun because they're like, wow, you mean it's just what it is? Because it kind of diminished the idea of achievement as well, because we're so hooked up on it. We want to achieve things and we want to feel like we've had an OB and we became more lucid. And I do that myself. But it is so true to let go of the idea of even controlling in the first place is very important. But at time, even though I know that, I still do it. And one things that I realized that helped me to detach myself from that, it's just be in the now, which I don't succeed to do it all the time, but at least when I realize I'm not, and I'm trying to see too much in the future and trying to, cause I'm very driven. So I tend to, well, we both very driven. So we tend to try to have plans and stuff like that. but we starting, being the acceptance that even a plan, 99% of the
It's not
time,
gonna go
it's
according
not
to
gonna
plan.
go, and to allow the unfolding. But yeah, control is a real thing. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, for me, it
It's
is.
it's like a paradox though, because I completely get what you said. It's almost like to let go of the need to control does, in a way, give you control, but it's not that there's a it's not that there is someone controlling the controller. It's just that you kind of regain the awareness of the controller by breaking that control, which paradoxically does give you this sense of control in a way. So I get why you say it like that.
And I got
It makes
pissed about
sense.
it. I got pissed about it many times, because what you just said is so relevant because I used to think it's like about manifestation. The you know you want to acquire stuff. It doesn't have to be material. It could be anything in this life. You want to create a reality for yourself. And what was very difficult to hear at the beginning, now I understood why, but it was like, okay, so you tell me to try to be the frequency of this, and it's just a matter of matching the frequency, and then I can just watch the way I feel about myself, and then work on my emotions and whatnot, and then all of that to say that I shouldn't expect an outcome. Make it make sense. For me, it was for a long time was like, hang on, what's going on? What's going on? And it's that idea, like what you just described about control, is like, but the whole point of me wanting to manifest some things, it's I want to manifest an outcome. How can I not expect something at the end when the whole point of me doing it is for that reason? And obviously I understood, it's more layered than that, but that's the first things most of us struggle with, like trying to see the sense. Because like you say, it's an oxymoron, and it pretty much felt that way. Yeah, on so many level.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
hear you. I think loads of people resonate and feel the same as well. Um, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think as well, I wanted to say about presence when you said that you're trying to be more present. I'd take that pressure off yourself straight away, because how can you ever be not present? You're
Yeah.
always here now. You're never anywhere else. It's just the thought that you are, which is taking you, appearing to take you out of now, but you're never out of now. You're always present. It's just a thought, because that's a really, really, really big, tricky thing that eventually we have to come up against. It's like, but I just want to be more present, but that's a thought. But if I just do this one thing, but that's a thought. And even the thoughts are happening right now. Everything is just now. You are in presence always.
Yeah.
It's just the thought that you're not
Yeah.
appears to take you out of it, but you're always here.
Well,
It's true. Yeah.
yeah, this is what I would liken to how I allow myself to have dream recall, or go back to a dream that I was having, or a out of body, anywhere. If I want to go back to a state of being, that's how I do it. It's always running. I'm always present because I'm omnipresent. So I'm always there. So I can just pop back the same way I could just daydream now and then pop back here. I'm still here. So if that's true here, then that's true everywhere. Then I pop back in. So that's what's been allowing me to pop in and out of talking to beings, communicating, channeling, all of that stuff, because I just pop back in. It's always running. And I just, that, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's just, like I said, a lot of these things I think a lot of people have been doing for years, just don't have the language around it to say, that's what this is. And then also, it's fun. Like, it's freaking fun. Like, now I'm really getting into the fact that it's like, if I need some information about here and I get anxious about a manifestation that's about to happen, I will just simply be like, okay, take me to the place that has the information I need about it. And then I go to that place. It tells me everything I need to know. And then I trust that what I know about it is accurate. And now it's accurate. Like, I'm not going back and forth with it anymore. So I'm just like, that's usually how I find out anything I need to know. And I've been using that as guidance a lot for worrying less here. Like, I don't have to worry in every moment that something's going to turn up or it's not, because if it isn't, I'll know. And if it is, I'll know. And that's that. Like, people do struggle with wanting to have OBEs, and I do understand it, and I get it, but there's so much other things that you could do, so many other abilities you could play with right now in the meantime that are just available to you. I would say get busy playing with one and then the other one will be ready. You know, like when you're waiting to log in on your PlayStation, like play Snakes on your phone until like, or Slither.io, whatever you want to call it, on your phone until it's ready. Like, you're fine. Like, you could do both. You could do all of them. They're all gonna work. It's just use it. That type of feel.
Yeah. Imagine if you could choose to go into a certain type of texture of experience where you could have a body and a family and struggles and ups and downs and have a really hard life but also a really fun life, and you know there's world wars and there's AI. Imagine like having a texture of experience like that in and out of body. People would like really think that was so cool, but here they just don't.
They don't.
No,
And it's
yeah.
like, hang on, is this not the ultimate game? Like, we've never not had war. And
Yeah.
then it's like this whole thing, but I guess it doesn't have a trailer, so people aren't really getting the memo. Like,
Yeah, that's part of what I'm trying to say and show, that this is another layer of consciousness. It's just you get so focused into your character that it becomes mundane and draining and sad and depressing. But if that loosens that little bit, like you can start seeing this as the game that it is, if you want to call it game. And I think that will change so many people's perspectives. I've said so many times that this is an OBE. It doesn't make sense. Neither does the term OBE to me anyway. But it's just a layer that consciousness is experiencing itself through. That's how I see it. Anyway, I'm not saying that as fact, but this is what I'm trying to get across. Because if you start seeing life like that, it doesn't become as boring. You start really noticing stuff. And I'm not sure if we've spoken about conceptual reality before or not.
yeah, we did.
We did.
But yeah, we did. Because, and we started talking about truth is conceptual as well. Like,
Yeah.
is it?
But it's like a filter, that concept, the thought of just knowing that, you know, for example, if you taste an apple, you're tasting it with your thoughts, you're eating it with your thoughts because you've had it so many times. But instead of being with the taste, the texture of the skin, how it feels in your mouth, how it goes down into your body, we don't do that. We're losing all of this experience by just being in thought about it all.
Sasha,
Yeah.
that is presence.
Yeah,
That
that's
is
what
literally
presence
that.
is, yeah.
But you know what it is, Sasha? I've come to realize one thing with the way this reality is being constructed, and I do think we can impact it, like collectively, individually as well. But what I realize, there's one common denominator between whether you hear or any other reality is you, what you are, your consciousness. And that doesn't change. That's the constant. The rest is up to whatever you decide you're going to do, and what part, what collective manifestation you take part to, because we can choose that as well. I mean, I think what it is, a lot of people feel like out of control. And again, we talk about the idea of wanting to be in control. It's also because there's a lack of presence where you understand what role you play. For a long time, I was just doing things and then I didn't realize that I'm playing a role in this. And even the people I didn't like, or I thought they're the bad one and we are the good one or whatnot, just realized that, you know, when you walk on that road or you take your bike and you go for a bike ride, and the same road that is manifested collectively by all of us, are you present when you're riding that bike? Or you just doing it because you can ride a bike? There's just so many nuance, and I had to just kind of like, and I do understand, I do agree with what you say, to you are by default always here. But like you said, you greatly defined it by saying like we've lost all of all these textures and feeling it and taking time to, because you hear often when people are having an out of body experience, they say, wow, I was just touching the walls and it felt so real, and as if you touch the wall now, it's not going to feel real, but it's how much focus you can put on that or not. And that is presence, that is lucidity, that is what it is. And I know what you're saying, because it's kind of like this complicating it as well. Like we're trying to, it's like over process it. Well, literally it's simpler than what we think. But I must admit, even though I understand it is simple, there is days where I just get dragged out of it, and then, life be lifing and things be happening. But it is pretty much what I realized. And I just took time to kind of like focus on what is the common denominator between me here, or me when I dream, or me on the other side. Because until I can, keep that connection and understand it, then I can start changing things. And that's what I understood. I was like, I'm just what I am, like whatever you want to call it. The I am, me, and when things start going sideways, I was like, that's the best place I can come back to. Because, sometimes life is not really laughing and you just complain about everything and you think reality is shitty, and it's just like, what am I witnessing? It's got to be better than this. How many times we say that? And then I have to tell me, like, stop being ungrateful. Like, just take time, just see what it is for what it is. And it's funny how, maybe like 5 years ago, you dream about something, you finally experiencing it, and then you're already over it. Like it almost doesn't matter. And these are the struggle I know, like a lot of people are going through, because you realize, you often say, wow, that's not what I thought it was. And my question is, what did you think it was?
Yeah, people say that about getting married or having kids. They're like, it's nothing like what I thought it was going to be.
And I think you touched on something great. Like, you're always present, but it's like, do you realize it though? It is true. You're constantly there. But I've been having some times where I don't know where the time went. I didn't even know what the fuck I did. Sorry to, I don't know if I can swear on the channel. You can beep. But I was like, and I'm like, and you know what I found out as well? We've got 4 kids now, right? I cannot comprehend, with all the time I had before, what I did with it.
What did I do with my time?
I'm doing more now.
Liaise. No, but I was busy back then, right? Full-time busy. Right. Was I?
But I was all over the place. I was distracted. I know what happened. Like, when I look back, I'm just like, wow, I was a mess. Everything used to easily distracted, caring about what people think and so on, and trying to meet family commitment and the lot.
Turning up to Christians when you know that is like the best pair of shoes you have bought like in 2 years, but it's so-and-so's Christine, so here we go, and it's very important that you must be there and you must be presentable. So forget that you haven't actually bought something for yourself that you actually like. You'll never wear that outfit again, by the way, but that doesn't matter. You're there and you smile and you turn up and you buy this gift that you can't freaking afford, and you do all these things because you're a good person or a good daughter or a good... Fuck out of here. Like, that people-pleasing thing had to go.
And Sasha,
had to go. That was...
the way you've explained it, it had to go for sure. and the way you explained that...
immersed in that one.
About you're already there. You're right. Do you know how many times I was looking for my glasses and they were on my nose? Or looking for my keys and in my hand. That's exactly that. All this time, but you're looking too hard, or you're gripping too hard, and you can't find the very thing that you already have. And that's struggle in itself.
I think thought is the biggest factor here. Like what thought does is add layers. It adds layers to everything. And when you said it's simple, it's more simple than you can even think.
That's crazy, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of
yeah,
course.
yeah.
And this is it. Like
Right.
this, and when I said a while ago, truth can't be conceptualized, that's what I mean. You can't think about it, because the minute you start to add one thought, you've added a layer onto what's here, what's now, and that's all it is. I've got this. I said it recently in an interview. I've got this. I don't know what to call it. It's called rhinitis. It's like a type of hay fever thing where I can only smell for small pockets throughout the year, but when it comes through, you know, a person would describe it as having a super sense of smell, because I could be walking my dog on a concrete pavement, and if my sense of smell comes through, I can smell the mud across the road. And what's happening there is, because my mind's not already conceptualizing smell, because it's not existent in its experience, when it comes through, my attention goes straight to the smell, not to thought, and the smell is met directly. So the smell appears super strong. It's not the best when it comes through while I'm changing my baby's nappy or diaper, but
No,
this
it's
is
nappy, isn't it?
yeah, it's nappy, yeah. But this is what I'm saying. So like, when you were saying about how people in out-of-body experiences, like, it's so much more vivid, it's so much more bright, I can feel it. You know, I've definitely had that here, 100%, 100%. I've had pockets of it, and sometimes it stays a bit longer, sometimes it goes, but it's almost like you're looking at life. You're looking at a new HD version of life, but it's not. It's just what it is without the concept. I haven't got that like as a permanent. Well, it is the permanent state, but it's just, you know, there's still some conceptualization going on. I can see it, and you know, I'm trying to filter that out, but yeah, I'm definitely seeing this 100%, like we are. But I'm not sure if it's even a thing that you have to. I said it recently. I'm not sure if being awakened or anything is necessary. I just think, you know, with consciousness itself, it's experiencing itself as a spectrum. So there has to be the hypnotized asleep experiences, and there has to be the awake conscious experiences, and there has to be everything in between. I don't think there's necessarily a goal for humanity to wake up as a whole, but then also at the same time, there could be like a cyclical nature of experience happening where it goes into a deep sleep, and then a deep and then an awakening, and then a sleep, because there's also a cyclical type of texture that happens that we can see when we look back. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I agree with it, but as you're telling me this, I'm giggling because what you're telling me is you're clear sentient, and I know that people like don't think about that like here, but then we're back to textures, right? So when people say like you're clairvoyant or you're clear sentient or you're clear whatever, that's just different layers of presence. But when you say that you get it for pockets of the year or pockets of whatever, like that for me is just try to explain it. So I have clairvoyance, yeah? That's just something that's just by default, as you have your clairsentient, and I do have that. That's why I giggled, because I can smell things, but I can even smell when someone's sick. It's that, like, I can smell down to if someone's sick, like, and what they're sick with. And then, you know, it's very, people underestimate the nose, but it's out here, and to the point where it affects the taste. So I'll know how long a food has sat there just smelling it, or I will know if it just came out the fridge, or it's it comes through with so much information. And like you said, this is why when you said textures, it makes sense to me, because that's just you tapping into the ability that you have available here. Is it present? Of course it is. It's always present. But whether or not you're experiencing it as that depends on thoughts that you have or beliefs you have around it, or whatever it is you're going on that you're focusing on other than that at any given moment. Or maybe it's become inconvenient for you at that time and you just decide to relinquish it altogether for a time being and then introduce yourself back to it. It's yours to do what you want with it, right? But I think that a lot more people are going to be realizing that, again, we've been overcomplicating what we are here. Like, our bodies, our vessel here has the ability to tap into all of these clears. And I know that they've been, like conceptualized as like some sort of like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Just like just like how it is with spirituality and it's like an everyday human thing that we can do, but some of us choose not to, and then some of us do, depending on what we believe about it. But it's like, oh, super smelling, clairsentient, gives you information. Well, yeah, people think it's just, oh, you're clairvoyant, so you see things, because that's the popular one, right? That's the one that everyone figures they want. But it's no fun in games finding out someone's pregnant before they do, because what do you do with that information? You know what I mean? It's inconvenient sometimes, but then it's also inconvenient to smell shit from across the road, like to know what the neighbor down the road is cooking, down to the spice. It's inconvenient at most, so most people just say, oh, forget it. But then there's be that one time that you smell something, you're like, okay, I know what's about to happen out of this texture here. And so you might be seconds off, but you're dead on. And people clear, I think, just means without thought. And when you said to me, you could be walking your dog and then you smell the mud over there and you don't even think about it, it's just direct information. That's all clear means. Direct information. It doesn't go through a filter. It just is. And that's what I think people are probably awakening to. All of these things that are available, these textures that are available to us here and always have been, but we've conceptualized them to belong to a certain elite of people, or you have to be born into it, or you have to do training to smell shit across the road, really. Come on. To know what to do with it, maybe. But then it's still going to be up to you. There's people who are clairvoyant and then use it for crazy reasons. Crazy to me. Makes total sense to them.
Yeah.
You do what you want, but it's that I think we're swimming through right now. Yeah.
I think something that was very interesting is when you said, and Shem, you talk about it just now again about the idea that you perceive something, and I like to call this realm the realm of perception and interpretation. Essentially, that's what's happening. And then you perceive something, and then in this instance, you were hyper focusing on what was perceived, because not even the thought arised. You just literally smell whatever that was, and it was quite powerful in itself. And that shows you our ability to maneuver in this reality and what to do with it. But one thing I noticed when it comes to the spiritual community, I'll say, but us thinking we're human here at large, we tend to hear one rule, agree to it, have a whole belief system about it, and then every time there's something challenging to comprehend, we stop applying that same rule. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if we believe, I'm not going to talk about fact, but let's say we believe we're a multi-dimensional being. So why is it so hard to understand that, you know, reality can be experienced differently from one person to another, and you can have many instances where you experience these things that are called so-called reality and this texture. And I always thought it was funny how people feel like being here on Earth here, that basically is the lesser version. That's often what you hear. But then things come up like that where you can smell something all across the road, and people are like saying, "Oh, that's a gift. That's something supernatural." Or how about potentially we can all do it in different layers, different ways, and stuff like that. It's just that we always, and I think it's that mechanism, the mind, that tend to discredit these simple things, and they are very simple things. But I think, like, because you can see, like, you might have this gift, and Shem has another one, and I have another one, and whoever else have another one. But I think, and it reminds me of the Avatar, you know, where he can master all powers like fire, air, water, and stuff like that. And I think it's kind of like a bit like that here. We, because you hear people practicing telekinesis, levitation. You've heard some people actually doing that stuff, and I know people say, yeah, but it's not proven, whatnot. But there's stuff out there, and I think that the sooner we realize what we are and how this work mechanically, the better our life would be in terms of our experience. And I think that's the whole point why we came here. It's so we can unravel all of this. You know, and when I hear that you can smell something across the road, that sounds amazing, because at the end of the day, you know, whenever can you do that? You know, and these things I think we going to have to become accustomed to. And I think what people call an awakening is just a part of us knowing ourselves again. I don't think it's something magical. I think within that, there's beautiful gifts that's going to come up. But I think that's essentially what it is. And one other thing I found out as well, what tends to happen is, because these things can be sometimes difficult to handle at time when no one talks about it, i.e., you know, it can cause certain issue physically, then you've got the medical corpus, they're going to prescribe something for it. They're going to say, hey, this is irritating you, this is too much, and here you go, I'm going to give you that. But it becomes more and more obvious that I love ailment, because I had my own, and I realized how I was given drops in order to dull down some things that I know today, looking back, I could have used. So I think all of these, like Shem said, these are gifts, if you can call it gifts.
I don't even call it a gift.
But yeah. No, but I don't have another...
Because it whoops your ass half the time when
I don't have a better word right now, but how people perceive it, I'm talking
That's
about.
the thing, it's perceived as a gift.
It's perceived as a gift, but yeah. So learning how to do that, telepathy, all this stuff, yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah, but
yeah.
Hey.
I feel like it's here. And when you mentioned about taste as well, the same thing happened when it came through. So before I got this, I don't know if you can call it a condition, I'll just call it a condition. Before I got this, I've had it for maybe 4 or 5 years now, maybe a bit longer, but I was eating certain things, and you know, they tasted a certain way to me. And now when this smell comes through and I eat that same thing, it's almost like I can taste the preservatives in it. I can taste the plastic in it, not like literal plastic, but I can taste the difference between real food and processed food. When this comes through,
it comes through clearly.
It comes through clearly. And there's this thing that I've been eating for so long, and when I recently had this smell come through, and I went and I had the same food, and it didn't taste right, and I thought something was wrong, and I complained, and you know, a new one got brought out to me, and it was the same, and I could just taste through it, and I was like, this isn't right. I can't believe I've been eating this and it's tasted this shit my whole life. But but it always used to taste good to me. But
that's the thing. You're going to lose some things that you once saw as pleasurable. You're going to lose some relationships that you thought were pleasurable. This is the thing. This is another thing about everyone waking up. No, I don't think so, because it's not all. You end up having to relinquish your sometimes things that you used to like or enjoy. You no longer enjoy them.
Sometimes, I mean, you're simply experiencing a different reality now. That's literally what that is. It's like, how can you even, you know, like overnight, you test something and it tastes a certain way, you're like, wow, I love that. And then all of a sudden, next day, it tastes like shit.
But remember when I stopped eating chocolate?
Yeah, that's the same thing. So you realize this thing, but that shows you, if anything, I think it shows you that you're shifting realities. And it becomes more and more common. And I've seen this type of phenomenon happening all the time.
Yeah.
Things you thought it was and then it is not.
Yeah.
That's one way to look at it. How I've perceived it is, it's what this reality is foundationally, but when you're experiencing it through a filter, it changes. That's what I'm getting at the moment. So I feel like, because we smell, taste, touch, listen, see through thought, the thought's creating a filter, because I've seen this reality appear more HD, more real. I've smelt it as if I am the thing. I've tasted it. I've tasted through it. I've tasted through the ingredients. Touch hasn't happened for me, but and sound hasn't. But if the other three senses that can happen to, I feel like every sense that can happen with. So I believe it's possible for us to break loose of our conceptualization of the senses and really be experience itself. So the thought, not the thought, that the sound becomes you, the taste becomes you. Because really, this is another thing. If consciousness is all encompassing, if it is everything, you are not separate from it. So you can become the experience of the thing itself, rather than thinking about the experience itself.
Yeah.
You're explaining a masterclass in clear abilities. And like I said, it's these names and they become off-putting, but just take the name clear, which is clarity, unfiltered, then call it unfiltered. Whatever sits with anybody enough. I mean, you could take it and say, oh yeah, you know, because we think about Mystic Meg and a crystal ball and all that. No, I'm not into all of that. And then you'll simultaneously be able to see into something and just know without a shadow of a doubt that person's in grief or that person's in. How do you know this? How could you possibly know and be right? But in that moment, you're using it, and then you think it away. You add, with the thoughts, you add layers onto the clarity that you've just experienced, and even with the food, I didn't want alcohol. I didn't want to let it go. Why? Because I have so many memories around it being something social for me and having so many moments where it's like, yeah, like I had a good time. Like, and I never was anybody to like really abusively have it. It's just, that's why I had a good time with it. But then my body started being like, we don't like the taste. We don't like the smell. You know what? We don't like the taste or the smell. And do you feel it in your body? And do you feel it as it goes down? To the point where if I even take a lid full now, I can taste everything in it. I could taste the process. I could smell the process. As it goes down, I know where it's going in my body. I know where it's storing. And I know what it's doing. I know how parts of my body are alchemizing it. And it just, that clarity for that thing will not go away. So I can no longer dabble. These are the things that people are experiencing.
I think as well, this reality was meant to be experienced with our physical body as well. But I think when you dive in the mechanism of that reality and how it works, you realize very quickly that it is our body essentially is a tool, a very complex and amazing tool, but it is a tool nonetheless in that you're going to use to experience this reality. And talking about a bit what you said, Sasha, about how we experience things depending on the thought process and what's going on. And obviously we use our brain as well in order to process the thoughts as well. And because of the neuroplasticity of our brain, depending on the belief system you hold on to, then the brain will be taught how to interpret these things. And science even demonstrated that countless amount of time. I remember this experiment where they had this guy, and what they did, they basically hid his arm and then put a fake arm and use a like sort of machete or to just act like they're gonna chop his arm, and he felt the pain, although it was a fake arm, but he reacted like he was in pain. He really truly interpreted as such. Although in reality, from our perspective, that never happened, but for me, it did. And that shows you clearly how this works. And I like to see, and it's not to rest on what science has demonstrated, it's just to it's still a part of our reality, and there's still something there. And when you begin to understand how this really works, you're like, oh wow, that's very malleable. Then it depends on what I believe to be true. You know, it solely depends on what I decide my identity is going to be, what I attach myself to, and how whether I attach myself to my thoughts or my thought process or the way I deal with my thoughts or not. And like you say, like this has texture and it can make you interpret certain things in a certain way. And I think what I like essentially now, it's to approach what we call spirituality as something that's very inclusive. Everything, nothing's left. Nothing is because I realize essentially if you start dismissing things just because they are science or it's education or whatever, then you open yourself for manipulation, because now what you've done is put yourself in a situation where if I discuss you enough about something, you're never going to want to look into it. Mm-hmm. So then you're never going to have the opportunity to really find out what it is. And I think we're here to find out. We're here to find out everything. Nothing left behind. Every single thing. And what I mean by that is out of a choice. No necessity, not because of limitation. Just that, like, if you could do this, would you do it? And if the answer is yes, and it's aligned with you, then go ahead and do it. And I think that changes the way you perceive things, because even when it comes to food, I say to myself, you know what, I much rather have, because I love coffee, but I was like, I much rather have a higher quality of coffee. Now, I'll come to that stage where I don't want cheap coffee or stuff like that. I'm not really interested in that. And I want to go through the whole process. But that was a decision I made that was still based off a belief. Does the coffee I'm experiencing truly taste better? It almost doesn't matter. I experiencing it better. And that's all it is. Yeah. And I'm like, well, if we're here for that, then there's no need to worry about anything. Just begin to experience it.
Isn't it funny how as your belief changes, your perspective changes? That's what you're saying, isn't it? It's yeah. Crazy. That's why I say, like, belief is, unless it's directly known, directly felt, directly experienced, it's like belief is open to change. Perspective is open to change. And that's why I can never really land anywhere with a certain fact, because, like I said, going back to when I thought I knew what happened with my awakening, as soon as I let go of the fact that I thought I knew everything, I started learning more. So this is what I'm learning. I think within movement, within experience, that's exactly what it is, movement. And movement never stops. If it's infinite, it will never stop. So perspective can never stop. But that's what I love. I love that even more, because imagine if it stopped. Everyone knew everything. Life would stop. Experience would stop. There'd be nothing. That's why I think the only way to really keep it infinite is to keep it open. It kind of makes sense. But
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Or come somewhere like here where we have supposed limitations, and then we could play the game of unraveling it
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then discovering. Oh, it's that. It's fun.
Mhm.
And how do you want to discover? Do you want to have some, do you want to go through mushrooms? There's so many options now, isn't it? Now it's, oh my gosh, you got tarot cards, you got pendulums, you got shamans, you got, wow, religion. You got so many different things that people go down the rabbit hole of just to get to that place of that.
Yeah. Well, talking about rabbit hole, I went down. I really did. Because you talk about this reality, like the pixelation, and essentially what it is small cubes, right? It's sacred geometry. It's symmetry. It's numbers. And I found out that this reality, to my perception, it's a code. And the reason why it's amazing is because if I give you a number from 0 to 9, there's an infinite combination you can do. It's literally what infinite is. That's what you can even see the mirroring of computer and this reality, and how we code in certain version of reality, video games or whatnot. And what I realize is that it works exactly the same. And that's why it's an experience, because it's an infinite possibility. It's literally infinite. And every flowers, even the flowers that look the same, they have their own uniqueness. And we know the shape of flowers are designed with sacred geometry. And you can see the pattern of all of these things, and I find that fascinating. And actually, that's actually, once I found out what things are, that's what excited me. The fact that in actual fact, there's an infinite possibility, literally, and it's designed that way. So I find it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so-
how it appears. That's how it
Yeah.
appears.
Right.
Experience through contrast. Basically what you were saying, Shem, isn't it? It's like experience is happening through contrast of going through well, some perspectives going through the mud to find the light, and some perspectives being in the light and then going into the darkness, and everything in between. Yeah, it's I don't. There's like no words for how amazing this experience is, but I know that's hard to say because so many people go through so much
Oh,
shit
as
and like
have
drama
I,
and
like
yeah,
as have I,
and it's
I don't know,
hard.
it's hard.
It is.
Yeah,
And that's why sometimes on a Sunday I'll turn up and I'll be like, "Oh, do you want to fix that? Something's popped up on our screen. Hang on." Yeah, sorry about that. And that's why sometimes I'll just turn up on a Sunday live and be like, "Listen, this week whoop my ass. I'm here. Here."
yeah,
Because that's what happened.
yeah.
So, and I'm still here, and it's like, it's still going to be Tuesday, and that's how this is the thing about people wanting to have these experiences. It comes with realizations that you may not want to realize. So the experience might not be revealing itself to you because there's a resistance there to have the revelation of it and the realization that comes with having it. So there's that as well, that people kind of have to get with. Oh my gosh, if I had this, I would be doing this and that. Yeah, but you'd also have to do this bit, and it's not sunshine and rainbows, that bit. But you could still do it if you want. And then it's like, and I think that it's the savior complex. Like, once I get this, then I'll be happy. And we extrapolate it not only to possessing things, but becoming things as well. Like, once I become a da-da-da-da, I'll be happy. Or once I get, it's just, you could go wild with that one. and then disappoint yourself at each and every turn instead of now and again.
It's true, you know, it's really true. And I
Like,
think it's because people haven't found out that there's an infinite version of this. So you could be the person that have what you talk about and is really happy, and the one who's not so happy, and then the one that is, you know, absolutely depressed, and the one that is sometimes happy, sometimes depressed, and the one, it's just so infinite. I think that's the part people haven't realized. And I think the fact that people don't see it like this is what limits them, because they think that it's only have to look a certain way, and that's only have to be that way.
well,
And
that's
then
part of the experience
it's
of
part of the
limitation.
experience. It's part of the choice, the free will you have. But what I realize, because I like to look at the patterns, and it's every time, if you really look this reality for what it is, or what's to come next, and you often hear people saying, disclosure, and what's gonna happen next, and how it's gonna look like, and whatnot. They're always surprised by the outcome. And it's like, whether disappointed, gravely disappointed, like 3-Eye Atlas, it was like, oh wow, we thought it was going to be so much more. It didn't. It could have been, perhaps there's a version where it is. You choose what version it is. Ultimately, you do. Because by design, it's like that. It's constructed that way. You could see it. When you take time to observe and see the patterns, you see it. I'm like, wow, that's literally how it works.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
I talk a lot about identity, and I think that's an important part of what you guys are saying, because if you take it out, if you don't look at if you don't look at experiences as you experiencing something, and I'm not saying, you know, this is true or do this or anything, but let's just run with this for a moment. If you take the you out of it, and instead of saying I come out of my body and I experienced this and this happened and this happened, and then let's say someone who's really chasing this OBE for so long and they want it so bad, and then eventually this happens and they come back and it was too much, and it can be life changing, but not in the best way, and they have to go through this integration phase. But let's say they take the identity out of it, right? There's an experience at the moment. They have an out of body. There's an experience in that moment. And then they're back here and there's still the experience here. What really muddies the waters there is the me that went and saw that, spoke to that person, had this happen to me, come back, and now I've got to deal with that drama. And all of that thought really creates this real big integration phase. But if you look at it in another perspective, and again, not saying this is true, but if you just see consciousness is experiencing this right now, not me, and then consciousness organized itself and experienced that in that moment, then there's almost this detachment from that bad thing happened to me. And I think that's an important point, because if that perspective is true, then it takes away all of the unnecessary like negativity surrounding the experience itself. And this is like the mechanics. When I go, you know, there's been experiences that have been bad, but I've come back and I'm like, no, I'm not listening to my thoughts. I'm not listening. That was just an experience. Just like a dream can be bad, and when I wake up, it's okay. That's how I look at it. And I'm still being me, whatever me is here. Multiple identities, which is great. Omondi, you mentioned recently, I wanted to bring that up, but yeah, how you can go in and out of multiple identities within this. You don't have to be fixed to just one. Like, you can be a father, you can be someone at work, you can be someone who speaks to a parent and a friend. None of those are really you. They're all you. But that's kind of going on to a different subject. But yeah, what do you think about what? Yeah, okay.
No, you can finish. I didn't
No,
want to
that was it. I
you.
wanted to see your perspective on all of that, really.
I'm sitting here and I'm like, yeah. Okay, Sasha. See, this is how we just dive into these conversations. I'm lost all the way in the source. I've literally just finished my book about this. It's the ID versus the I am, and it's not even versus. It's just seeing them for both what they are. So, the book is The Pillars of the Governed Mind, and I got this perspective shift from when I had a out-of-body experience and I just ended up in a place of consciousness where I was shown how how we as a consciousness have constructed here as an experience. And it was explained to me as a soul-mind experience. That's why, and I was like, that's probably where this idea about the soul or the mind came from in the first place. It's probably because, do you really think about soul and mind when you're out of body in another experience? Not really. It seems to be very much this texture thing, but that's another subject for another time. But anyway, they were talking about how our experiences are constructed here, but how idealistically we were meant to operate here, and then what collectively we actually doing, and what the whole awakening may be for some people is returning back to this relinquishing from attaching yourself too deeply to the ID and just sitting with the I am. So just how you said that when you have experiences with like, I didn't like that, nothing to see here, folks, I'm back to me. I was like, it's that. Or you could come back and be like, oh my gosh, this happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I will never get over it. And it'll be this whole thing that you carry.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, you don't have to chain yourself to these pillars. You can just move your consciousness and awareness around them and interact with them as and when and how you see fit, and then relinquish that contact and then move through this experience. And that's how you would gain back what people would call freedom or sovereignty, because essentially that's how it was meant or built. That's the architecture of it. Now, how we use it has become something different. And it's just like how we use our vessel. It's become something different based on belief and blah, 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 and this ID thing. So yeah, it is that. It's, okay, I'm going to chop that one up to the I am of me. I observed this. This happened to that person. That was a thing that I saw. That was a thing that I felt into in that moment. And now I'm back here. And Shem doesn't have to deal with that. So Shem's going to go down and pour a cup of tea and eat a hobnob. Nothing to see here, folks. Going about my life. And you could do this in any given moment as you see fit. And then it doesn't have to feel like this experience is constantly attacking you. You can just be a bit more fluid with it and go where it's less traumatic for you to go, and stay where it's less traumatic for you to stay, if you call it trauma at all. But you know what I mean? Like, it's this be more fluid with yourself, which comes with minding your own business, forgiving, letting it go. That's what forgiving is. You woke up and you forgave the situation. You just let it go. Oh, that's not my suitcase. Like, one of the people from our community always says that, like, not my suitcase. Oh, that's not my name. Bye. It's that. And I think if people did have OBEs and they were like thinking about it and had this experience that they were like, oh, I went through this and I went through that, and oh wow, I've had a few like that. If I'd just come back and been like, well, that was a nice film, so to speak. It was immersive. It was 3D. I felt every piece of it. But that's because of what I am at the I am level, not because of who I am or what I think I deserve or some other story that I've told myself around it. It just is. And now I'm here and I'm okay. and I get to do any other thing that I want to do here. Oh, I'm a mum now. Let me go change your nappy. Or, oh, anything, anything. And that's what I was shown. And it kind of like, I had a while where I had to sit with it. But someone brought something up and it came up again, and I was like, I do have to get this down. So that's what ended up happening. So it's very synchronistic that you spoke about this today. Yeah.
I like how you brought it back to presence, because that's a really important thing. Like when you do come out of experiences, to just be like, okay, but right, well, I say this to my Patreon all the time when when there's things going on in the mind and stuff. I'm like, right now, are you okay? Is everything okay? And you'll find that some people, well, nearly everyone, probably everyone, will go straight to thought to find out if they're okay or not, rather than just looking around to be like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Everything's good here. But on the flip side of what you just said, people can come back from that and be like, that really happened to me. That was traumatic. But if they had an amazing experience, they'd be like, oh, that was really good. Oh, I just had that. And, all of a sudden it's like, that's okay. But the other thing isn't okay. So that's that's something to think about.
That's literally what they said to me. If it's going to serve you moving forward, then you can keep that. And if it's not, then you don't have to. But I think what people also do is we're into the habit, like I said, as a recovered people pleaser, which is an identity I loved. I did not want to relinquish for a very long time. I experienced what it was to hold on to that, to hold on to the bad times. Well, that bad thing happened, so that's it. I'll never do that again. And then a lot of people do love replaying the nightmares of experiences. Yeah. So it's like, and even when I do readings for people, if I tell them the most, and even then I very rarely have really start warning things to tell people. I'm just like, you might want to watch that or this area. But even if I do, they want to dive deeper. For them, that's the truth. They'll hold on to that bit. But then I've seen people's paths that are available to them if they so choose, because that's all it is I'm looking into. Different paths that you have that could unfold if you choose that. If I tell them it's good, all of a sudden they're like, don't know about that. I don't see how that's going to happen. For me, nah, I don't see that. And it's like, what do you want out of this experience then? Once you wrestle that with yourself, then you could do whatever you want anyway, but once you wrestle that get to the base of it, then you can stop butting heads with every experience you have. Yeah. Because that's all you're doing, butting heads with you.
I was going to talk about both of the things you said, like stopping, butting head with the experience you have, and what you said, Sasha, about, having an OB and then having not a not so good experience. And what I realize is, this is part of this whole mechanism and what we store in ourselves, our body, and our memories, our brain, or what we think, how we think things has to be stored, based off our judgment as well, and our belief system. And a part of the present, being present and being ready as well, because you talk about the readiness as well. You may not be ready for the experience you're going to have. It's also being able to, and you mentioned something, stabilize your consciousness. I think it's that, or your awareness you were talking about. Basically, this is an idea of stability that has to take place. And I find out that that neutral part of you is the part that allows you to process these experiences. Because one thing is, even if you're here in this reality, you can have a not so good experience, or you can look it for what it is. And nothing is truly good or bad. It just is. It's all that is. That's it. And you are the I am. And what I realize is, when you become the observer and seeing things for what they are, as opposed to how you feel emotionally, because the emotion is, because of the neuroplasticity of your brain, the emotion is easily, can be easily tampered with. And based off what you perceive as being fearful or not. And you mentioned something that was great once. You said this idea that I need protection, or from things that are bad, and I used to try to affirm that I only want to see good and not think that is malevolent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Shem, you said something similar as well. Once you say as well, this you having this experience, when you realize that I don't have to keep reaffirming, that I'm protected, or, I need protection. I just command it. And I think these little nuance change the perception of reality completely. Science has been knowing this stuff for a long time. They've been knowing what gland actually regulate our emotion. The amygdala gland is actually the gland that's been regulating our emotion, but it's been tampered with a lot with the thing we absorb and stuff like that. So becoming aware of our own projections or projections of others, I think really matters in this whole entire reality and how we experience reality. And it's almost something like, it's you becoming more responsible, I've noticed. And I don't mean responsible in the sense, you're a responsible person or no, but gaining the ability to respond to a situation accordingly without it impacting you so much.
Yeah.
And I think when you get to that stability you're talking about, I think that's the key. You get stable enough so you can see it for what it is, not what you are. But these are the two things that you both talk about that resonate with me. And I was trying to, while Shem was talking about this, I was trying to bring up some things, and what actually in the brain actually fires up together: the amygdala gland, the hippocampus, and the prefrontal cortex, and all that. It's so malleable. It can be programmed. That's why I say the body is a tool, and we can't dismiss it within the experience. And we have to be aware of what we do with it, because this is going to shape up our own experience. And what it actually does, the amygdala actually processes fear, threat detection, and emotional memories. And then the hippocampus links emotions to memories, which means when you're having an OB, you're out there and you see some things that you feel threatened about, if it's for you to only come back and store it that way, because you sure will, specifically if you're not aware of that. Hence why I always say to our community, like, become aware, like, know what you are, not even who you are. Like, forget about who you are, who you think you are. It's what you are, how you operate. I think it's hugely important. And the book, Shem, you wrote as well about the pillars. That's what it's about. It's not having a judgment on the education or the pillars of education or religion or whatever it is. And you did mention many times, I mean, I think you mentioned in 5 pillars, but you, Sasha, said about you have to encompass everything. You have to love everything. You can't just choose one thing because you think this is good and that is bad. And once you start doing this is really when you truly experience what you came here for. Well, at least I perceive it that way. Like, you start having really the true experience. The rest is just a dream.
That was amazingly said. Yeah. It's why my structure on my channel was more so embodiment and stability first before I started changing it, and I'm going to go more into experiences now. It's because it's so important, and like we were just saying and what you've just highlighted, you can have an out of body, you can have it out of escapism and thinking this life's shit, so you want to go and experience something better. But if you experience something bad and you identify with that bad thing, that's another bad thing you're adding to your already bad life. So, it's like, this is why I talk about stability of the human. And you said, forget about who you are, it's what you are. But also, trying to learn who you are sometimes brings about the outcome of knowing what you are. Because if you dig deep down far enough, you realize you can't find yourself. You know, what are you? Are you
Yes.
this? Are you the person that? So I've had this thing recently with one of my group members who said they think that the personality goes with them after, and I'm not dismissing it, and I'm not saying it doesn't, but what I did say was, okay, what's your personality? Let's look into exactly what that is, because from my experience, my personality has changed throughout my life. But I don't want to dismiss the fact that there is a uniqueness about us. And you can see this in children. You can see that there's a unique spark. And then you can also look at fingerprints. You can look at the bark on trees. You can look at life itself. Life appears to express uniquely. So there could be an experience of a unique form, you know, that you say, okay, that's me as my unique. But again, that's when we were talking earlier about the simplicity. It's like if you just take the me out and there's just the form there, which, yes, there can be identification with that form now in this new experience, but there's so much me, 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 me. It's almost like very, I don't want to say that, but yeah, we'll just leave it there for that. But stability is very important. I was going to say it's very egotistical in a way, but I don't want to say it in a bad way, because it's what this experience is all about. It's about being immersed and being like, this is happening to me. But it's like the mind's being very egotistical about it. But just take the me out and this is happening. Why do you have to add the me into it? This conversation, this topic specifically, does scare people sometimes, because it's like, what do you mean there's no me? And I'm not saying that. There's clearly a you experiencing this clearly. But I'm saying, what do you think of as you? Can it just be that there's experience? Can it just be that if there's bad and there's good and there's anger and there's happiness, that all of that just happens and it's being experienced? Because the moment that you put this me into it, it's like an added layer of protection. And you know what you brought up with the I can't say that word.
Neither can I, so I'm not even going to try.
Amygdala.
Amygdala. When you brought up that's like, it reminds me of what I talk about with the nervous system. Your nervous system is it's like a scared child, and your mind is and your thoughts are. So when you have that experience, a bad experience, and you come back, it's like boom, a contraction. I don't want to have that happen again. Everything switches on protection mode, and you know that's why stability is so important. I did want to say though, Shem, going back to what you said before, Omondi, I want to shout out Trey and his channel at Your Superior Self, because that was an amazing interview, and congratulations on your first ever interview. How are you guys not being interviewed more? You know, that's why I needed you to come on here. You need to be interviewed more. Those experiences are amazing, and you do go into the book and the pillars a lot more in depth on that.
I do, and I just, it's like I get caught. I'd rather people understand what it is than and then okay, and there's also the book. So if you want to do that in your own time, bada bing, bada boom. But I was very happy to be chatting to Trey. He's one of those people who's like, do I know you already? It was very easy to conversate with him. It was a great interview. He smashed it. Like,
Yeah, great conversation.
He asks great questions.
He does. And I must admit, for our second interview, I am enjoying this experience. I know I would anyway. And it's always lovely chatting to you. It's kind of like it just flows. So it's like, yeah, it flows. So it's just.
This has been so natural.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie, right? I had like 10 anchor questions. There wasn't necessarily questions I was going to ask, but they were just like an anchor for a flow, but I haven't got to ask one. But
Are you joking?
No. But that's what's amazing though as well, that we can have a conversation non-stop, and I don't need to ask any of the questions that I prepared for, because this is more organic. This is what I'd prefer it like this. So I am happy. Okay, I just wanted to firstly thank you for coming onto my channel. I really appreciate it, and I always love speaking to you guys. Genuinely, I feel like I feel the connection there. If someone was feeling lost right now, what would you genuinely want them to know?
Do you want to answer that first?
I'm gonna try. um, I have been there, and what I realized is talking to different people, different walks of life. I realized that they are in my situation. But while I was doing all that time and I was thinking, by looking at me only and thinking that I am lost, I realized they're lost too. We're pretty much all in that situation, which means that if everyone is lost, then no one is. And that was my conclusion, because as I spoke to people, as I allow myself to know people on a deeper level, without judgment, withdrawing judgment, what I think I know about myself and how this projects on to other people, or I used to be, very judgmental, because I'm from the foster care. So talking about being lost, or I know something about that. But then I began to realize the good stuff about me, what was great, what wasn't so great. And I know people say don't compare, but I wasn't. I was just observing and truly observing the world around me without judging. And as I was able to do that, I realized that there's no such thing. You may feel that way, you may perceive it that way, but it doesn't mean that it's true. So it's about kindness to yourself and others. And when you reach that level, when you reach that state of being, you just don't see yourself that way. So be kind to yourself. That's what I would say. Be loving. I don't think there's something wrong with you. That's what I would say.
Yeah. Firstly, wonderful question. Secondly, you're not going to have me crying again, right? Let's get that clear. And gosh, Sasha, you always do this. Lost is a real experience once decided upon. So if you find yourself there, the single hardest thing to admit is that you took yourself there. And it's a hard one to swallow because it's the single quickest way to get yourself out. But it's one door in and one door out when it comes to being lost. Knowing you are the one who led yourself there and you're the only one who could lead yourself out. But in doing so, you can realize you're more than just you that experiences loss. You can realize that you can always just be the you that experiences joy or you that experiences bliss. And just as an actor would take off one hat, put on another and become another character, you can start choosing the you that values yourself, sees yourself, and is kind and loving to yourself in those moments of what you're perceiving to be lost or dark or a number of names. And you're not alone. You're just not. It's part of the experience of experiencing being lost, is to also delve into the idea of being alone and being the only one, and it's layered. Once you pick through those layers, you'll realize that you were never alone, and that you were never helpless, you were never a victim, you were never any of those things. You were just experiencing it just like the revolving door is, just pass through. Just pass through it. Just find your way in and then pass through and find your way out lovingly, and then forgive it. Let it go.
Thank you very much, both. Firstly, want to say thank you for being so open and vulnerable there. And I saw you both go deep internally to speak through your being, to speak through presence there. So that's it was really, really nice to see. And I think the two perspectives together just made it even more special. So thank you very much for those answers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha. Thank you for inviting us on your show. And
Absolutely.
we're looking forward to another conversation.
We'll definitely do
Yeah.
it again, 100%.
100.
Before we leave, your YouTube is at AwakenToJoy,
Yes, it
which
is.
I'll link down below, and I'll also link your website below if you can just remind me of what that is, please, and what you guys do on the website.
Okay, it's www.theos888.com, and that's where you can find everything we do. We give our services. I do readings. I have another channel. It's all there. You can jump to that if you're into collective readings, intuitive guidance. That's also where you can find our books, the Governed Mind, the Pillars of Governed Mind, and the commands and everything else we do, the community, the Discord. So yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. I am already looking forward to the next one. Thanks
Us
for taking your time
too.
out.
Us too, yeah.
Us
Sure.
too. Us too. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you.
I'll
Thank
speak to
you.
you soon. Thank you, guys.
Ciao.